Welcome to Baymore Staples Presents Chatter at the Bit. Today we're going to have kind of a fun topic. It's called tips and tricks. Now, everybody has to know about the welfare of their horse, but it's kind of nice where you can look at some of the old methods and mix them with some of the new. Like, there's older things that you have around your house that can be put together to be beneficial to your horse. First one we're going to talk about is alcohol. Rubbing alcohol, buy it at the dollar store. I have about 10 bottles laying around my house. It is multifaceted. You can use it to clean out a wound, flush it out. I wouldn't suggest using that. It burns like a bitch. But fly bites, a horse that's sweating, a horse that's slightly pulled their stifle, it can be used from anything from therapeutic massage to a slight blister. And when you blister a horse, it's just a matter of basically inflaming it so it tightens up better. We've had several over the years, weanlings that get screwing around in the winter time and they pull their stifle. Not a big deal. We rub it 3 days straight with alcohol until your hand is hot. And within 3 weeks, they're back. Not even a big deal. At a show, if you're out at a show, you can easily mix alcohol with a little bit of, you can mix a little bit of conditioner if you bath your horse, or you can just put it in a bottle and just spray it on your horse because it aerates. So when you're allowing the skin to breathe and to give oxygen to it. Apparently I can't speak today. So it's kind of one of those things that you have a bottle for every and other reason. So next thing that people buy all the time, I have another 10 bottles, peroxide. Peroxide, believe it or not, is very effective in many different ways. Flushing out a wound, absolutely. But it also can be used in your 1 capful in your horse's water, keeps the bacteria level down, and it also incites the bacteria in their stomach to work, and less chance of ulcers, less chance of anything stomach related. So, and when we do our bulk tank out in the field, when Greg scrubs our bulk tank, we scrub it right down and half bottle of peroxide goes in with it. And it just keeps the bacterial levels down, which is a good thing. So those things to me should be in a tack box at all the time because you just never know when you're going to make it. So then we go to what products can we mix together in order to get another product. Now, the oldest leather cleaner and softener in the book is my Goop. I call it the Goop. It's been around forever. And all it is take a little 500 milliliter mason jar, fill it half up with neat's foot oil, half up with dish soap, shake it around, get a chamois, and clean your saddle. I can assure you, beyond a doubt, that it will be the best saddle cleaner, conditioner you'll ever have in your life. I had a friend I sent out to, she took a bridle that was all moldy, crusty, hard, and I told her, I said, use the Goop. I go, and when it dries, put another one on. She decided to, give it a try because it doesn't cost anything to try something. And she had this bridle and she showed me the before and after. And it looked like garbage. And then she put, I think, 3 or 4 layers of Goop on it. And this thing was as soft as a baby's ass. Like, it was clean. It was soft. It is just, to me, the best. I won't have any other saddle cleaners in my barn. I have just my Goop. And it's cheap. You buy a thing of neat's foot oil, you buy a thing of, you already have dish soap if you do the dishes. So it's something that's very inexpensive and very effective. So, and back in the day when they had everything leather, you needed it. You had to have something because leather will last forever if it's kept healthy. And that goes with anything. Anything leather, if it's allowed to dry out or crack, becomes garbage. But it will last forever if it's kept well. And some of the products out there are a lot of money. Trust me, try the Goop. So then we're going to go to Shoshin. I make my own show sheen / fly spray. And I've always told people who talk to me, citrus is your friend with horses. Citrus is your friend because a lot of things in the show sheen, I use vinegar, I use lemon juice, I use a little bit of aloe-based hand cream. I like the Aveeno. And if you want it for a fly spray, add a little bit of peppermint oil. Shake it up. You make it up by the gallon jug. Costs you about $5 a gallon. And use as much of it as you want. But the nice thing is when it's an aloe-based hand cream, like I said, I like the Aveeno and the lemon juice and the vinegar. It actually, you can feel your horse's coat get softer and healthier. Now, if anybody's come out and seen my horses, in the middle of summer, they're just shining like glistening asses. We don't brush them a whole lot, but we make sure that if we want to take a fly spray, we take, like I go through about 5 gallons of fly spray a year. And it's cheap to make. It stays forever. You just shake it up every time you use it. So, and you can take it to a show if you want your kids to be involved. You know, you just mix up a bottle. Who cares how much they use? You can put up a best thing you can use. If you're at a show, my biggest suggestion is soak it in on a chamois, a little piece of a chamois, and put it in a plastic bag. And the reason you do that is, one, the sweat will keep it moist. But then you can just wipe your horse down. And you can just continually wipe your horse down. And it's easier to just throw in the bridle bag or anything. It's like, boom, there's the bag with the wipe down. Your horse will thank you for it. So we're going on to like water. I am a huge person. I want to see my horses drink a ton of water. I don't care how it happens. I want my horses to drink water. And mine do. Like it's nothing for them to go through 2 to 3 5-gallon pails a day just per horse. Like they drink an enormous amount of water. I love it because it's a natural flush. The more water your horse drinks, and that's without adding salt. The more water your horse drinks, the more he's flushed in his system. And that brings me to, how do you incite? Because everybody wants to show, and I think that's wonderful. But when you go off the property, horses handle that in different ways. And everybody wants to scream about, oh, my horse has ulcers, which he could very well be. But you got to wonder why. Personally, I got 15. Not a single one of them has an ulcer. But there's things you can do to take preventative measures when you're taking the horse off property. One, go to any convenience store. I went and got some. I got my mama to pick up those fry oil from McDonald's, those plastic jugs. I think they're 5 or 10 gallons. Get them for free. You rinse them out. It's food. It's human grade, food grade. So it's never going to hurt them. And take your water from home, because everywhere you're going to go, it's going to be different water. Slight changes. Sometimes it won't bother a horse. I have one mare here that if she goes to a new place, takes her 3 days to drink. She just like that. But they all handle it. So you got to realize that if you're showing your horse and you're taking him off property and he's not getting his, what I call homies, which he's not getting his home water, he's not getting his home hay, he's not, there's things that is going to build up that's going to stress him too. And I know you're sitting there going, yeah, right. Well, you got to realize horses are very scheduled. They do everything in accordance to their schedule. So what you need to do when you go off property to have a happy, healthy horse is you need to make him think he's at home but not. And that consists of like taking his own water from a stall, hanging up his own water pail. And what I do, if I'm back when I was shown, we're going back a few years, is what I would do is I would make up apple juice ice cubes and throw that in the pail and let it melt out, because the smell of apple, if they're used to having apples, it'll attract them. But the nice part is apple juice is a diuretic. So it's another flush. And your horse at a show should drink minimally, especially in the heat, 2 pails of water. So you got to take at least that. And keeping them hydrated, and what I do with their hay, I'll spray it in mineral oil, only because it, again, is just going to prevent blockages. It's going to prevent constipation that can lead to colic, one step after another. And it's the little things of bringing from home that your horse doesn't become as stressed. And it's one of those things that this is what you should be doing. It's the same as people. If we go to a strange place, I know me personally, if I go to a strange place, I don't sleep. There's no shot of getting me sleep. I get nervous and, I don't sleep. Well, that's what your horse is going through too. So there's little things you can do to make that process easier for them. One of them is bring their water from home. Whenever you're going to a show, bring their own water pail. Bring their hay from home. Even if you bring a bag of shavings from home. I'm not too worried about that too much. But it's going to allow him his space where he can relax. And that's always a good thing. So you just kind of figure it out. Because, lack of water, lack of hydration can lead to colic. It can lead to tying up. And tying up is when the muscles surrounding the urinary tract swell and they tighten and cramp so the horse can't stretch and pee. Once a horse ties up once, mare or gelding, it'll happen again and again. And the only way out of it is some Banamine to help him relax. Now, you can take alcohol if your horse is prone to that. You can take alcohol before you go on the show and rub it over the kidneys. Put a piece of plastic on to keep it soft, keep it manageable. Because you don't want a horse to tie up, because that is brutal. But it's fixable. So you kind of go off on those things. And there's lots of remedies you got. Like I got a homemade Mare Magic that, standard people have been using for 100 years. I'm just amazed that, they run to Bute or Banamine and it's like, okay, you can do this, take steps as a law. And this doesn't work for every horse. It's worked in my experience. But taking the stress out of a horse's life is trying to move his home with them. And there's little things you can do. And it's one of those things, like you want him to drink lots of water. You want him to eat hay. You want to be able to stop and make sure you take him for a walk so he can pee and he can poop. These are all things you need to do at the show. Because this is what they need to do to stay healthy. So you kind of got to figure it out. Now, the other thing is cooling your horse out in hot days. How do you keep your horse cool? Well, one little trick is put a little bit of Vicks in their nose, because Vicks is a bronchodilator. The camphor in it extends it. Great for if you have studs going to a show too. But the other thing you can do is take a polo wrap and just douse it in water and wrap it around their throat latch. You don't want it ice cold because that'd be a shock. You want him to cool themselves out. And a lot of times just wrapping a wet polo around their throat latch will cool them out. And it's something that the quicker you can cool them out, the healthier they are. And then everybody wants a long mane and tail on a horse. Thankfully, my stud has it, and he's gorgeous. Blonde Bombshell's a rock star. And I have a recipe for that too. And it's an easy one. And all you do is you take some coconut paste, add some vitamin E, add a little bit of lemon juice, a little bit of hot water, and a little bit of Aussie hair conditioner. You put it in a blender and blend it all together really well. Now, it will go hard when you put it in a bottle. You put it in a jar, an ointment jar. But the nice part is your hand will melt it. So when it comes to mane, tail, foretop, is what you do is you put a little bit of it on, you let your hands melt it, and then you run it through with your hands. And you're going to find that the mane is going to get more healthy, very much more healthy. And it's a homemade like hair serum. And it's stuff that is not expensive to buy. So, and you have little things that you can always go with. Like back in the day, we used to, put shoe polish on their feet to make them good and black. And the biggest thing is the quarter horse cut. It's like, I personally hate it, but I like a long mane, flowing mane and tail. But I don't understand the braiding. They say it's to prevent breakage, but I don't braid any of mine. And, but I also use my hair serum. I use my show sheen. And so maybe I'm doing it a bit differently. It doesn't mean it's more right or more wrong. It just means it's different. I'm just suggesting that in the long term, you can be cost effective with stuff for your horse to go to the show. And you want to go to the show. If you're taking that step to go to a show, kudos to you. Congratulations. And if you want to be there, but you gotta worry about your horse too. And some horses you can throw on a trailer every day, go to a different show every week. They don't care. But there's some that do get edgy. And they're telling you, a horse is giving you every answer. You just got to ask the right question. And a big thing to know where your horse is at is watch the body language. Watch his ears. Watch how they look at things. Watch how alert they are. Because they will have the answer. They are telling you when they're upset or they don't know what to do. And that's when you have to step in as a horse owner and say, okay, I've got the picture I'm looking at. I got to fix it. And sometimes it's just a matter of literally throwing up their hay bag with a little bit and putting up their water pail and pull it over so they can eat in the shade. Sometimes it's as simple as that. Sometimes you can have other scenarios. Every horse is different. I had a mare, we're going back way too many years. But she had kind of a bit of a history to her, and I liked her. I just thought she was, I guess the bitchier the better. You'd almost think, why I know that, eh? But this mare was on the vet's list when I got her, and she kind of was a nice little mare, but she had an attitude. She didn't handle things very well, and change was the biggest thing. She didn't want to go to the trailer. She didn't want to go to the track. And, I always wondered why. And everybody told me, check her for ulcers. It's not an ulcer thing. Not at all. I had her teeth done. I jogged her. I trained her huge one day, and I thought, Jesus, I was happy. And then when I got to the track, she fell apart, and it was like, what the hell? And that's when a friend of mine said to me, you're not doing something wrong. You're ignoring the horse. I was like, what? Yeah, ignore what she's trying to tell you. And then he showed me, as I brought this mare off the trailer, her head went straight up, her ears went straight forward, and you could just see her shoulders shaking. I'd never bothered to take notice before, and I kind of went, okay. So, and then I went and took her into the paddock. It was empty. It was off race day. And as soon as she started walking in the paddock, you could just see her whole body tensing. It was like, okay. So, and I went, okay, I can fix this. I looked at him. I said, well, what do I do? He goes, bring home to her. Because she knows she's leaving home, but bring her home to her. So the next time I raced her, I had to qualify her because she was on the list. But, it's one of those things. Racing is racing. And I brought her in a little early. I brought her own shavings. I brought her own water pail. I brought her hay. I put my apple ice cubes in. I put an alcohol sweat over her kidneys with a fly sheet. And I took her halter off so she could walk around the stall. And when I brought her out to harness her up to jog, she was sitting there playing with her tongue. It was like, I had a different horse. And it was like we went out jog. We just jogged a little bit in the happy bridle, and I go out jogging, and it was like she's got her ears up and she's relaxing, because when horses trot and drop their heads, they're actually stretching their spine and back muscles. That's healthy. So, and I thought, okay, I might have a shot here, but of course she'd been beat quite a few times, so I wasn't holding out for getting a check or anything. And I put her in, and I said to the driver, I said, just float her out and see what it's all about, and just kind of let her do her thing. Well, he come off, and he was like, what'd you do? I said, I really didn't do anything. He said, this mare's pulling 10 tons. She had it in her head she wanted to race, and that's what I did. And when she went back to her owner, I said to them, I said, all you got to do is bring home to her. And it was one case where she knew going off the farm was not going to be healthy for her. She knew it wasn't safe. And as soon as I started bringing her home with her, she was allowed a space to be safe. And it changes a horse's temperament, whether you choose to believe it or not. And she went on to, I think she took a mark of 52. I don't know, she went on to be not a bad mare. And don't get me wrong, she went to a great trainer who was way smarter than I was. And I've had horses over the years and we do a lot of traveling in standardbreds. We do a lot of, you're at one track one night, you're at another track 2 nights later. So we have to pay attention to what they're telling us. And I mean, probably 70% of the horses couldn't care less. But there is that 30% that'll give you a run for their money. And it's just a matter of watch your horse, and especially at shows, because I will say, we're out in New Brunswick. I am completely impressed with the show circuit out here. It's like, whoa. But if you're going to be a circuit like that, pay attention to your horse. The horse will tell you what they're missing. And it's just a matter of bringing water. And everybody says, well, and I know everybody's going to say, well, there's water where I'm showing. What's the difference? Trust me when I say there's a difference. There's always a difference. So, and you can do whatever you like, but if your horse is during show season losing weight, getting stressed, don't be so quick to run to ulcers. I'm not saying they don't have them. I have no idea if they do or they don't. But I would be trying other things first to see what the issue is. And I really do feel that running to medications is happening way too much from people who don't know what they're supposed to do. If you don't know your horse, then you shouldn't be medicating your horse. And it is not complicated. So and the best thing after a race, there's some post paste out there, because a horse is going to lose something, is definitely give them electrolytes in their water, or they have an after tube electrolyte paste, give them a tube of that. It's just going to replenish them. Like, whether you're showing, racing, breeding, or whatever, that extra step will always get you the extra mile. It doesn't mean you have to break the bank to do it. So I'm just saying there's other tricks and tips. I have a lot of home remedies. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a message. I'll be happy to share them with you. That's all for now. Have a great day.